All right, we should be ready.
Can you hear? Okay. All right. We will call the meeting to order. Al, could you kick us off with roll call, please?
Benson.
Benson here.
Benson is present. Fertig.
Fertig here.
Fertig is present. Hoffner.
Hoffner present.
Hoffner is present. Mosier.
Mosier here.
Mosier is present. Schramm.
Schramm here.
Schramm is present. Weber.
Weber is present.
Weber is present. Mayor Johnson.
Johnson is present.
Mayor Johnson is present. City Manager Leon.
Leon is present.
City Manager Leon is present. City Attorney Denherter.
Denherter is present.
Denherter is present. And just for the verification of audience, Sarda. Sarda is absent. Minor. Minor is absent.
Thank you, Al. You have before you the minutes of the work session of May 26, 2020, and the regular meeting of May 26, 2020. What is your pleasure?
Weber moves the minutes.
Can we get a second?
Schramm seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion about the minutes? All right, Al, roll call, please.
And this is roll call for the minutes. Weber.
Weber votes aye.
Weber is aye. Benson.
Benson votes aye.
Benson is aye. Fertig.
Fertig, aye.
Fertig is aye. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier.
Mosier aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. And Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Johnson is aye. Minutes pass 7-0.
You have before you the schedule of bills. What is your pleasure?
Fertig motions to pay the bills.
Benson second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion about the bills? Al, is there anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to comment on the bills?
Dwayne is at the commission chambers.
Oh, thank you. All right. And do we have anyone watching YouTube or taking phone calls tonight?
We have Dave monitoring the YouTube chat, so he can respond to that.
Okay. Dave, any?
No comments via YouTube.
All right, thank you very much. Al, roll call.
We'll start, and this is a roll call on the bills. We'll start with Benson.
Benson votes aye.
Benson is aye. Fertig.
Fertig, aye.
Fertig is aye. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier.
Mosier aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. Weber.
Weber is aye.
Weber is aye. Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Mayor Johnson is aye. The scheduled bills passes 7-0.
Next, we have the city manager's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the commission. I think you all saw the sales tax report. Sales tax came for May, and we were down 6.72%, all 3 pennies. That leaves us up for the year 3.85%. So as we predicted, our sales tax is starting to feel a little bit of pain from COVID-19. The triple B was down significantly for the month, 26.58%. That takes them down for the year, negative 5.49%. So hopefully we'll see that turning around with some things being open. However, with many events and activities canceled for the summer, I think that we'll still have a tough summer and tough fall. So that's just an FYI for all of you to keep in the back of your minds as we get ready for a budget. As you know, we have a special meeting next Monday, the 15th. There'll be the similar setup as we have this evening. You certainly, if you'd like to participate in the meeting room, you can. However, I think it would be a good idea if we all participated this way. That meeting is at 5:30, and we're going to work on CIP budget or capital improvement budget, and then the outside agencies as well. If you need an additional day, we will do the same thing at 5:30 on the following Tuesday, the 16th. So that being said, on your agenda this evening, there is a work session slated for the 22nd. Staff won't have enough time to prepare something. We're working on getting the budget ready for you all to have. So we wouldn't have that turnaround time. If you want a work session to talk about something specific, great. If not, I'd appreciate not scheduling that or pulling that from the consent so we can have just our regular meeting on the 22nd. Also, July 13th, our first meeting in July. That's the meeting where we will reorganize the city commission. So Ross will have prepared the oath of office, and we will swear in Commissioner Mosier, Commissioner Maibaum, and Commissioner Brunick, and then you will reorganize and select your mayor for the next year. So something to put on your calendar there. We have been discussing with the state, with the governor's office, as well as with our peers in the state about what funding might be available through the CARES Act, and we have gotten some good indication that there'll be some funding for local cities, municipalities in South Dakota. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but it sounds like the state will be working through our planning districts to distribute those funds. And as you know, we have a great relationship with our planning districts, so we feel pretty confident about that. Certainly won't fix all the challenges that we're going to have, but it will make things look a little better for us, I hope. So I'm happy to stand for questions. Otherwise, I'll let you get to your business.
This is Commissioner Mosier. Amy, are you or Ross anticipating that the three of us need to actually be in the city chambers for the swearing in? Or I guess I'm trying to figure out how that would work online.
Yeah, I've already talked a little bit about that with some staff, and I thought we'd wait and see where we are a little closer to the first of the month with numbers. But I think it's preferable to do that physical swearing in. I think we could do that at a distance, and maybe our new commissioners, depending upon where we are with our numbers, are maybe the only ones that are maybe seated. I think since we're reorganizing, it would be nice if we could be there in physical presence. So we're certainly going to keep talking about that, but that is a big enough room. We just may not be all on camera at the same time. So we're going to work with Ross and on the legalities of that, and then also keep checking with our health officials.
I obviously can't speak for the other candidates elected, but I would be comfortable with that.
Other questions for the city manager? All right, if not, we will move on to public appearances. This is a time when members of the public can address the commission about items not on tonight's agenda. Dwayne, is there anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to address us?
We don't have anyone in the commission chambers at this time.
Thank you. And Dave, anyone on YouTube who wishes to address us?
I'm pausing for the 11-second lag, and we have nobody on YouTube Live that wishes to address us.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the consent agenda. Number one is the aforementioned work session of June 22nd. Historically, we have not held that June work session after the budget meetings. So is there a desire to revoke that meeting and not hold it for this month?
This is Benson. I'll make a motion to revoke that meeting.
Schramm, second.
Do we have a motion and a second to not hold June's work session? Is there any commission discussion around that? Dwayne, anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to address the commission?
No one at this time.
Thank you. Dave, anyone on YouTube who wishes to address the commission on this item?
No one on YouTube Live.
Thank you very much. Al, can we have roll call, please?
Fertig.
Erdig, aye.
Fertig votes aye. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner votes aye. Mosier.
Mosier, aye.
Mosier votes aye. Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm votes aye. Weber.
Weber votes aye.
Weber votes aye. Mayor Johnson. Whoops,
Johnson,
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Johnson votes aye.
And I apologize, I skipped Benson. Benson.
Benson votes aye.
Benson votes aye. The work session, revoking the work session passes 7-0.
Thank you. Number 2 under the consent agenda is establishing June 22nd, 2020 as the date for the public hearing on the request for a special events on sale liquor license for July 25th, 2020 for Rock and Rumble. And that would be in the block of 3rd Street between Douglas and Capitol Streets. What is your pleasure?
Benson, so moved.
Schramm, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this item? Dwayne, anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to address us on
No
this
one
item?
at this time.
Thank you. And Dave, anyone on YouTube?
No one on YouTube Live at this time.
Thank you. Al, roll call, please.
Okay, and we're voting on consent item number 2. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier.
Mosier, aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. Weber.
Weber votes aye.
Weber is aye. Benson.
Benson votes aye.
Benson is aye. Fertig.
Erdig, aye.
Fertig is aye. And Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Johnson is aye. Consent item number 22 passes 7-0.
Moving on to old business. Number 1 is consideration of Memorandum 20-107 regarding the transfer of ownership and location of a retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota Farm wine license for July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021 from Shri LLC at 821 Broadway Avenue to P&P Lottery Enterprises at 3010 Broadway Avenue, Room 5. What is your pleasure?
Mosier moves the memorandum.
Erdig, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this item? Dwayne, anyone in the commission who wishes to address us?
We have no one appearing to comment on this item.
Thank you. Dave, anyone on YouTube who wishes to address us?
No comments on YouTube Live on this issue.
Thank you. Al, roll call, please.
Okay, and this is roll call on new business item 3-1. And we'll start with Mosier.
Mosier, aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. Weber.
Weber is aye.
Weber is aye. Benson.
Benson, aye.
Benson is aye. Fertig.
Erdig, aye.
Fertig is aye. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Mayor Johnson is aye. New business item, or I'm sorry, old business item 3-1 passes 7-0.
Moving on to new business. Number 1 is consideration of Memorandum 20-100 regarding Summit Activity Center rates for 2022. Amy or Todd, is there anything you want to add to that for the public's benefit before we consider it?
Remind the commission, and if Todd has something he wants to add, he can. We already have a rate increase going into effect in July that was passed about this time last year, and so this would be for 2022, the following year. So the school and the city wanted to make sure that those rates were done far enough in advance so people could budget and plan their events. Roughly about 3%, I believe, and we, arranged that with the school, talked with them about it as well. So unless Todd has anything, that's really all I have.
Is that pretty standard? A 3% increase every year, is that pretty standard in what you're seeing in the industry?
We base that on, this is from meeting when we still had the city school meetings. They wanted something put in place that was going to be ongoing. So we don't go out and look at rates and compare what's going on in the marketplace. Because when we've done that, people have not been excited to raise rates more than 3%. Sometimes we've talked cemetery, we've done 5 or 10%. Sometimes at the summit we've done that, and it's never gone over very well. So we chose 3% as an ongoing rate, and we could relook at that if anybody wanted to.
Does anyone want to make a motion on this item?
Weber moves.
Moser second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further commission discussion? Dwayne, anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to address us on this item?
We have no one appearing on this item.
Thank you. And Dave, anyone on YouTube who wishes to address us?
No comments via YouTube on this item.
Okay, thank you. Al, roll call, please.
Okay, and this is roll call on new business item 4-1, which is the SAC rental rates. And we'll begin with Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. Weber.
Weber is aye.
Weber is aye. Benson.
Benson, I.
Benson is aye. Fertig.
Fertig, aye.
Fertig is aye. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier.
Moser, aye.
Mosier is aye. Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Mayor Johnson is aye. New business item 4-1 passes 7-0.
Number 2 under new business is consideration of memorandum 20-69 regarding the music at the Meridian concert series. And this would give permission to the city manager to sign documents and contracts related to this series of events. What is your pleasure?
Moser moves the memorandum.
Fertig seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on this item? Dwayne, anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to address us?
We have no one in the commission chambers.
Thank you. And Dave, anyone who wishes to address us via YouTube?
There are no YouTube live comments regarding this issue.
Thank you. Al, roll call, please.
Okay, and this is roll call on new business item 4-2. We'll begin with Weber.
Weber votes aye.
Weber is aye. Benson.
Benson, I.
Benson is aye. Fertig.
Fertig, aye.
Fertig is aye. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier.
Moser, aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. And Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Mayor Johnson is aye. New business item 4-2 passes 7-0.
Number 3 under new business is consideration of memorandum 20-105 regarding resolution 20-29 to declare miscellaneous office equipment as surplus property. What is your pleasure?
Hoffner, aye. I move, I'm sorry.
Weber seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this item? Dwayne, anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to address us?
We have no one to comment on this item.
Thank you. And Dave, anyone on YouTube who wishes to address us?
No comments via YouTube on this item.
Thank you. Al, roll call, please.
Okay, and this is roll call on new business item 4-3. And we'll begin with Benson.
Benson votes aye.
Benson is aye. Fertig.
Fertig, aye.
Fertig is aye. Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier.
Moser, aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm.
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. Weber.
Weber votes aye.
Weber votes aye. Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Mayor Johnson is aye. New business item 4-3 passes 7-0.
And finally, under new business is consideration memorandum 20-106 regarding resolution 20-37 regarding the Cities Are Essential campaign that the National League of Cities is heading. And I won't read the whole resolution, but the core message of this is that Congress must provide direct federal assistance to American cities, towns, and villages in order to stabilize local government operations, keep workers on the job, facilitate the reopening of America, and jumpstart the national economic recovery. And the National League of Cities talks about a bipartisan bill in the Senate called the SMART Act, State and Municipal Assistance for Recovery and Transition. And that would provide $500 billion in emergency funding directly to state and local governments. The funding that's been provided so far has gone to states, but nothing directly to cities under populations of 500,000. So this would be for all cities in the country. And they propose that it would be appropriated similar to the way community development block grants are funded. And that formula considers population alongside measures of poverty and housing instability and sets aside 30% of overall funds, for thousands of small and rural municipalities below 50,000 residents. And eligible expenses should be a broad range of purposes, including public health, economic recovery, emergency payments on behalf of jeopardized residents, municipal budget revenue shortfalls as a result of closures due to coronavirus, and technical assistance to those ends.
Hoffner makes a motion that we approve Memorandum 20-106, Resolution 20-37.
Weber seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Any further commission discussion on this resolution? Dwayne, anyone in the commission chambers who wishes to address us on this item?
We have no one that's appeared to address you on this item.
Thank you. And Dave, anyone on YouTube who wishes to address us?
There are no YouTube comments on this item.
Thank you. Al, roll call, please.
Okay, and this is roll call on new business item 4-4. And we'll begin with Fertig.
Fertig, aye.
Fertig is aye. Hoffner?
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier?
Mosier, aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm?
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. Weber?
Weber is aye.
Weber is aye. Benson?
Benson is aye.
Benson is aye. Mayor Johnson?
Johnson, aye.
Johnson is aye. New business item 4-4 passes 7-0.
There's no other business on tonight's agenda, so I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Weber moves.
Schramm seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Al, roll call, please.
Okay, and this is roll call to adjourn, and we'll start with Hoffner.
Hoffner, aye.
Hoffner is aye. Mosier?
Mosier, aye.
Mosier is aye. Schramm?
Schramm, aye.
Schramm is aye. Weber?
Weber is aye.
Weber is aye. Benson?
Benson, aye.
Benson is aye. Fertig?
Fertig, aye.
Fertig is aye. And Mayor Johnson?
Johnson, aye.
Mayor Johnson is aye. Motion to adjourn passes 7-0.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the week.